American Indians and Alaska Natives, Part 2. American Indian foodways. The traditional diets of American Indians were influenced primarily by geographic location, climate, seasons of the year, and availability of natural resources. Some societies were agriculturally based and others depended on hunting and fishing. The types of food consumed depended on the season. Corn, beans, and squash, sometimes called the Three Sisters, were cultivated by most nations. Farming was done by women and girls, and hunting and fishing were done by men and boys. Animals of every type and description were eaten, including reptiles and insects. This not only included large game such as deer, buffalo, antelope, moose, elk, caribou, and bear, but also small animals such as rabbit, squirrel, beaver, skunk, and raccoon. Alaska natives and those on the coast ate primarily fish and sea mammals such as seal, walrus, and whale. Others had a vegetable-based diet. Culinary ash and gray clay were often added to foods, and in fact, these are substances with high mineral contents, and it added much nutrients to the diet. Many tribes prefer drinking broth and herbed beverages to water. Select herbs, leaves, twigs, and barks were often added to boiled water before drinking it. Medicinal teas and broth were used in all tribes. Maple sugar, honey, and cane sugar were popular sweeteners in regions where they were abundant. Contemporary foodways. American Indians were forced to live on reservation, and their diet and lifestyle changed considerably. When uprooted from their lands, their way of life, and traditional foods, they did not have a choice but to eat the federally commodity foods provided on the reservation. The contemporary diet is influenced by factors such as living on or off the reservations, income, access to electricity and running water, proximity to grocery stores and restaurants, family farming, and use of commodity foods. Traditional food staples such as wild game, berries, roots, wild rice, and indigenous vegetables have been replaced with processed foods and fast foods. Gambling casinos, which are major employers in many reservations, also have impacted contemporary eating habits, meal patterns, and family dynamics. Most offer some employees and their families unlimited meals from the casino buffets. And traditional American cuisine is the typical fare on the buffets. Commodity foods currently include canned and chopped meats, canned vegetables, fruits, and juices, peanut butter, powdered and liquid eggs, evaporated and powdered milk, dried beans, and instant potatoes. Many of those in rural areas have gardens, even though running water is scarce. Some still gather the few indigenous plants that are available, and other sources of food include fishing, hunting, and raising livestock. Over the years, traditional foods and methods of preparation were lost and substitutions were made. For example, beef is a common substitution for game, and traditional foods make up less than 25% of the diet. Many negative habits, such as frying and snacking between meals, have been adopted. Large consumption of fried meats, soft drinks, potato chips, candy, cake, etc., are very common, and eating fast foods is also very popular. Alaska Native foodways. Alaska Natives battled harsh environmental conditions to find food and other materials for daily living. It was usually semi-nomadic, traveling as necessary to hunt, fish, and gather. And typical meal patterns included 2 meals per day. Breakfast was eaten at sunrise, and the evening meal was eaten at sunset. Staple foods included sea mammals such as seal and walrus, game animals such as caribou, elk, moose, musk oxen, polar bear, mountain goats, sheep, and hare were also important to the diet. The stomachs of large game animals and sea mammals were often searched for undigested foods. Most foods, including meat, were primarily eaten raw due to lack of wood and other fuel. Animal fat made up as much as 80% of caloric intake. Murtok, chunks of walrus or whale meat with layers of skin attached, is still a popular delicacy. Bones were dried and ground into powder and were added to certain foods to boost the nutrient content. Wild plants were scarce, and berries, wild roots, seaweed, mosses, lichen, and other vegetables were gathered when available. Subsistence was and continues to be an important practice. Subsistence is not just about living off the land, but a worldview, a meaningful cultural practice, a way of raising children and honoring elders. Subsistence living involves every member of the community, including children. Elders are consulted about hunting and about the richest areas to harvest berries and seaweed. Children as young as 5 years old are given small jobs at the fishing and hunting camps and gathering sites. They also are responsible for babysitting infants and taking foods to the workers. Older children pick berries and help to skin animals. Teen boys participate fully in major hunts and all aspects of the harvest. Subsistence living has become a very politically charged issue in Alaska, pitting commercial hunters and fishermen against those who practice subsistence hunting and fishing. Similar to American Indians, Alaska Natives have high intake of commodity foods from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, consume a lot of processed foods, have a high sugar intake. The large number of tribes precludes a comprehensive examination of their feast and fast days. A common event among many tribes is a powwow. Powwows are traditionally held in the spring to celebrate the new beginning of life. It is a time for people to get together, sing, dance, renew old friendships, and make new ones. It also has some religious significance and is the time when families hold naming and honoring ceremonies.